Hello and welcome to the Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024 edition of the Sands and Storm Center's Stormcast. My name is Johannes Ulrich and I'm recording from Jacksonville, Florida. Threat-informed defense is something that's often being thrown around as, well, a methodology where you're defending against actual current threats, avoiding spending a lot of time on defenses that in the end don't really matter. One of the ways how you can get to that state is actually having a good red team engagement, and that's exactly what Boyan wrote about in his last diary. One particular control that often frustrates them in their red team engagements, and if you can frustrate Boyan, you probably are also going to frustrate a whole lot of attackers. The assumption here is that some host in the network is already compromised, and now you're trying to prevent lateral movement. The particular control that Boyan points out that being quite effective in preventing many techniques that are being applied here is Credential Guard. Credential Guard does prevent an attacker from, for example, gathering other users' credentials. Just one little word of warning if you're enabling it, and one reason why you may not want to enable it, that it does interfere with some virtualization solutions. Credential Guard itself is implemented by essentially running your Windows environment on top of Hyper-V, and that will interfere with, for example, running VMware on a system that has Credential Guard enabled. And talking about credentials, researchers from Clutch Security looked a little bit about how long it takes to have exposed AWS credentials exploited. Well, the sad truth is that it takes literally seconds, maybe a couple minutes for credentials to actually be exploited. They tried a couple different things, like, for example, exposing them via GitHub and the like. This is in line with what we have seen in other reports, so this is not something that's sort of out of the ordinary or unexpected, really. The real problem is, how do you solve this? And now AWS, for example, will alert you if they find your keys in the wild, but these alerts will likely be too late. So if you do find keys in the wild, assume compromise. They probably have already been abused, and you really want to move away from sort of these more or less static API keys. Even if you rotate them daily, weekly, or whatever you have, you're probably not going to rotate them once every minute. So try something that's more ephemeral, or to try, for example, to verify the source it's coming from. Mutual TLS and other layers of defense need to be added in addition to just some simple, longer, or even somewhat shorter-lived API key. And then I have seen a couple news articles about something that I thought I covered, but I don't really see it in the history here for the podcasts, and that's the use of corrupt Word documents for phishing. The basic problem is that, well, Word documents or any Office document is a zip file. If you corrupt that zip file, then many security solutions are unable to actually parse that file and are unable to figure out if it's malicious or not. The problem is that Word has this neat feature where it will attempt to fix corrupt files. And that's really what attackers are abusing here. They're corrupting a file that's badly enough corrupted that security solutions will refuse to parse it, but Word will fix it for the user, so the user is still able to open the document. We have seen similar things literally decades ago with, for example, corrupt UPX archives. I think that's still being used. Similar effect here. You basically just have a bad checksum. So security tools refuse to look at it, but of course an attacker can always just ignore that checksum. Anyone, the company who sort of published this news originally, does call this a zero-day vulnerability. I would argue that this is really just something that's old enough where people apparently have, again, forgotten about it. Well, and what's worse than having long-lived credentials that are being applied across multiple appliances, being sent to various customers that this customer apparently can't change? IBM Security Verify Access Appliance. Well, you would expect a little bit secure access from appliance named like this, but apparently they are coming with hard-coded credentials. Doesn't really say what role you get with these credentials, but another vulnerability that is being patched in this update is a privilege escalation vulnerability that allows non-administrative users to escalate their privilege to unnecessary permissions to perform certain tasks. Very specific here. Definitely they don't want to give away how stupid this vulnerability is, so please update and maybe just give them a call and ask for help in order to impose some cost on the adversary, which apparently IBM wants to be here. And yesterday I mentioned the free sticker giveaway. If you got an error trying to go to the URL, try again. I should have fixed it. Slight typo in the URL yesterday. Both URLs work now. And again, the sticker code that you need to enter is just podcast all uppercase. Thanks and talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.